Hi, everyone. We are live. Welcome to Wash Day Wednesday. My name is Njeri Fraser, if it's your first time here. And I am. Oh, I don't know why my phone just acted up. Whoopsies. I'm sorry. Hi, everyone. Jerry here, the Njerineer. If you didn't know, my name is Njeri. And welcome to Wash Day Wednesday. Give it up for another Wash Day Wednesday. And I can't believe February really just came and went. I mean, I've been doing Wash Day Wednesdays for, I want to say, roughly a couple months now. Crazy. Crazy. Let me just move this mic a little bit closer so you can hear me, so we can be a little bit more personal. But yeah, it's been really fun doing Wash Day Wednesdays with you guys, and especially this month where I've been really trying to do every single Wednesday where we do a little history lessons that is related to hair care because you can't know where you're going till you know where you came from. And that's what history is. And it's important to know the history. And I think, it's really good to pay homage to the styles and persons who came before us. And today, we are focusing on a really important person in the beauty industry, especially in black hair care. Today, we are discussing Madam C.J. Walker. If it's your first time hearing about her, why? And if not, if it is, it's okay. We're going to learn today. We're going to talk about her a little bit more today. But, she really is an instrumental person. But before we get into Madam C.J. Walker, if it's your first time on Wash Day Wednesday and you're interested in all things beauty, hair care, self care, and just whatever you want to talk about, hit that subscribe button, leave a like on the video if you do like the discussion that we are about to have. And hey, this is the fourth week of February. I have three more Wash Day videos that I have already posted that I did live in the last 3 weeks. First week was on the Afro and the Black Power movement. Then I did dreadlocks and Rastafarianism, and then last week we did the history of cane rows slash cornrows. So there are videos there. There is content there if you are interested in those topics. But today we are talking about Madam C.J. Walker because without her, so many of the beauty products companies that we know and love in the beauty supply store or even in Walmart, they would not really be there if it was not for her because she really set the groundwork for all of that. So we are going to get into that. So if you're interested, sit back, relax, let's have a Coily hair chat, and we'll just get started. So the first thing I want to get into is you heard me mentioning we wouldn't be here without her. If like we wouldn't have Miel, we wouldn't have Cantu. What's another product that we like? Let me know our favorite brand that you like for your hair. I like Shea Moisture. Really like Shea Moisture. What do I have here? Ooh, Pattern. Pattern is a good one. I love Pattern. And all these brands would not necessarily be here because Madam C.J. Walker really is the one that set the groundwork for all of them. Now, Madam C.J. Walker, believe it or not, she is the first female self-made billionaire in the US. Like, that is insane. Like, that is crazy that especially the first self-made billionaire is a black woman. So she really knocks it out of the park for that. But she wasn't always known as Madam C.J. Walker. Her name is actually Sarah Breedlove. That is her name at birth, and she was born in 1867. And she was actually born to parents who were freed slaves. So she really is the first born person in her family that was not born into slavery. But not being born into slavery, it's a great thing. It's great to be born a free person, but there were definitely many hardships that came after those who were freed from slavery. She went into work as a laundress and was just really making under $1, is it a day, a week? Not a lot of money. So she really was really trying to make ends meet for her and her daughter. She got married at 14 and then became a widow at 20. Now she was undergoing a lot of stress, not having enough nutrition, and as a result, she was suffering from hair loss and having a lot of scalp issues. Now, when it came to hair care, she really tried to learn a lot from her brothers. and those around here, the barbers around here. But this is really where her bread and butter really came to be. So she really worked on making products that worked for her, that would help to minimize the issues that she was having with her scalp, and this became into a brand. So it became ointments. I know she had the Walker method. I don't want to say it wrong. I know what the Walker method is, but it involved washing your hair frequently, which was not necessarily done a lot at the time, believe it or not. People weren't washing their hair that frequently, but washing their hair frequently, using an ointment for the scalp, and also using hot hair combs. Now, she did not invent the hot hair comb. This was invented by French stylists, but this became part of her Walker method, right? But did you know all of this? I did not know. Let me know in the comments if you actually knew all of this before I did. Like doing the research on her was really interesting, and I did know about her, but it was just really amazing to see that what she did. Now, granted, the only I don't want to say that it is. It's not like a political thing. It's not like I'm against it. Now, her products do tend to be more for a straighter look, straighter hair look, not so much promoting natural hair. However, it doesn't really matter at that point. I mean, back then, it really was a different time. At that point, you really are doing your best to assimilate, you're trying to survive. And of course, we do notice in time persons do reject Eurocentric beauty standards and are more proud of their natural hair. But regardless, back then it was all about the hot comb. And so she was using that in her Walker method as well. And lots of women were using this method, but not just that. The big thing is that it wasn't just only about the products. This whole system, her products were doing so much more for the black community. She was giving women jobs, call them walker agents. They're going door to door selling products, and she was able to educate women, train women to be businesswomen, and they were able to financially provide for themselves. So it was not just about her alone becoming a billionaire. She was able to provide jobs, provide education, train women to be beauticians. She was really putting women into work. She got women to work, and she got women to be independent, to be self sufficient. And she was really doing all this. So she really was a force not to be reckoned with. Like she she provided for her community, provided for her family, and this all of this without it, like I said, we wouldn't have like pattern beauty, Fenty hair, like all these things do stem from her being able to start this on her own way back in the day. Now, you heard me earlier when I said her name was Sarah Breedlove. So the CJ Walker, where does that come from? Well, she did get married to a guy named Charles Joseph Walker, and because that is his name and you are the missus, she then became Madam C.J. Walker, and that is what she identified as when running her business. But yeah, it's just, it really is something, and I feel like I wish she was discussed more, especially in school, you know, just all around the world, because I feel, especially trying to be an entrepreneur, is something that a lot of people don't try to get into. I think entrepreneurship really does scare a lot of people away. And when you hear about the success stories of persons, you hear about like the Bill Gates, you hear about Mr. Zuckerberg. You hear all these folks, and yes, you hear that they started in their garage and everything. And so it does seem, not saying that you can do it too, that's definitely not it, but sometimes you hear certain stories and you wonder, can that also be me? You don't see yourself in someone else, especially as a self made millionaire, billionaire. But someone like Madam C.J. Walker, we have so much more resources than she probably did at the time. Like, she was born just from like, she was born first born free slave, free person in her family. So if she is someone who can be able to create such a big name and brand for herself, why can't we? Right? And I think it's very inspirational. I think in Black History Month, it really is important to honor her, especially us in the beauty space. Well, let me know, what are your thoughts? Did you know about this? Do you know about Madam C.J. Walker? Let me know. Did I cover everything I wanted to talk about where she was concerned? Let me get into it. Let me look it up. Double check. But in the meantime, how are you guys? How's your Wednesday going? I hope you had a great day. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below and we will talk about it. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing well today. Okay. But yes, so back to Madam C.J. Walker. I really touched on everything where she was concerned of what I wanted to talk about, but I'll just like slow it down a little bit more and just talk about each section a little bit more in depth. So I was mentioning the Walker system. So she developed what became known as the Walker system, and this included frequent washing, and that was very progressive at the time, scalp treatments with medicated ointments, and the use of hot comb for styling. And this routine together is really what promoted healthy scalp. And when we all know, when you have a healthy scalp, that allows for better hair growth, length retention, all that good stuff. And this can really apply to all hair types. So this was really, really good. And this helped really systemize Black hair and helped commercialize products, especially for Black women. Because we all have the little beauty supply store that we love to run to get our products. Well, back in the day, that was not a thing. So with Madam C.J. Walker's products, it really gave women access to products for their hair to have hair care like that. And then when it came to the business side of things, so I did mention that she went door to door, but it was more than just going door to door. She gave live product demonstrations and then she taught women directly how to style for their hair, how to care for their hair. So it really was more than just her building the brand and name for herself. She was really empowering other Black women to be able to also create a name for themselves, to sustain themselves, have a business, earn an income, and she was doing this for not just one, not just two, but a lot of women, hundreds of women, to be able to be self sustaining and provide for themselves and their families. So it was great. It was great. And these women were called Walker agents. Yeah, and so by 1917, thousands of Black women were trained sales agents, and then she hosted one of the first national conventions of women business owners. So she really was out there. She really was out there doing her best to ensure that women really did have all the tools they needed to become businesswomen, not just her, but other women as well. And that I think is really amazing and great because now we do have so many conferences centered for women and showing women how to become not just business owners, but whether you're in STEM, like I'm an engineer, so we do have engineering conferences focused on women as well. And we do have women in healthcare. We have women, WHBA. Yeah, I got invited to things like that. So there's so many conferences focused on women. So it's really great to know that she created a conference like that to empower Black women. Sip some water. But yeah, so that's on the business side. And to continue for economic empowerment, created jobs for Black women. She helped to teach financial literacy to women and encourage home ownership. Now, I don't know exactly how the home ownership thing worked. I'm not gonna lie because I'm pretty sure women weren't allowed to get homes. So is she encouraging the women to encourage their husbands? I don't know. I have to look into that, but I'm pretty sure women couldn't. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. We're gonna find out. I will find out, and I will let you know. But if you know, let me know. Am I wrong? I'm pretty sure it wasn't the case. But yeah, that would be if it was the case, dope. Dope if it was. And then another important thing to note is that all of this was during the Jim Crow era. So segregation in the US, blacks, whites just weren't mixing. So it really was important to know that black people were being empowered, given the tools to take care of themselves, and Madam C.J. Walker really encouraged members of her community with her line of work, which and we love her for that. And for philanthropy and activism, she used her wealth to support many facets. She supported black schools, scholarships, the YMCA, anti lynching efforts, and the NAACP. So she really donated large sums of money for the civil rights movement. So she really was out there making sure everybody was well taken care of, everybody is supported. And yeah, I am really glad to know that she didn't just take her money and just say bye to everyone. Even when she made her money, she was still supporting her community, which is something that we kind of see it in billionaires nowadays. You know, you have one set of people that say that billionaires aren't doing enough for the world. They're just enjoying their money. Yes, they have their foundations, as they all do, taxes, all of that. But she really was using her money for good as best as she could at the time. And so I'm really glad to know that she was not selfish with it, and that she continued to share and to participate wherever her services and her help was needed. And then, yeah, as I mentioned earlier, just talking about like the politics of it all, yeah, it wasn't for natural hair, but like I said, if it wasn't for her brand, we really wouldn't have all the brands that we do have today to really encourage. Because sometimes it's not even just about the door opening, but if you don't even feel like you yourself can have the ability to even start a business like that, it's like we could all be billionaires, like we really could all be billionaires out here, and just we could really could be billionaires. And it's just the lack of faith that we have in ourselves. Like maybe we want to start that business, maybe we wanted to get that course, and you're nervous, you feel like that it's not for you, maybe, or how could someone like me do something so great. And it's not necessarily, actually, yeah, it is a lack of confidence. I was about to say it's not necessarily a lack of confidence, but it is a lack of confidence. And when this is why representation is important in all manners, because when you can see that someone that was kind of similar to you was able to achieve something that great, then you can look at yourself and then you can be like, hey, yeah, if they could do it, like, why can't I do it too? Like, if they can start the business, why can't I start the business? If they can win that race, why can't I win that race? If they can invent something, why can't I invent something? It really does help to see someone before you that was able to achieve a great milestone like that. And I think that is what Madam C.J. Walker definitely represents, especially in the beauty space. So, like I mentioned, now we have Cantu, now we have Shea Moisture, now we have Pattern, now we have Fenty Hair. Who am I forgetting? We have ORS, we have Miel. Which other brands? Like, there's so many brands, so many brands, and even beyond just hair care, we have just brands in Sephora. You have your Charlotte Tilbury, Huda, all these women-owned brands, and it's when you see these women just they just really just shake the industry with a force. And when they can do it, just know that even if you yourself don't want to have a big business, but maybe there is something that you are holding back on in your life and you feel like it is, I don't have the resources, or how would I even start. It really is important to just first relax, calm down for a little bit, and just self reflect a bit, to take some time and start a bit smaller. Maybe you don't have all the resources to do exactly what you want, maybe because your vision is so big and you're there thinking, oh my God, I want to do this. You can't see my arms on camera, but I want to do this, right? Like, say you want to do this, but you only have this left. Well, see what you can do with this, you know? See what you can do with this, and take it one step at a time, because then one day you're going to go from this, and then you're going to go to this, and then to this. And each step is very, very tiny. Each milestone is so tiny, you feel like, what am I even doing? Am I even doing anything at all? But you keep on making progress. And then next thing you know, you were here, but now you're here. And then you just keep on going and going and going. And one day, as long as you're persistent, this is the key. This really is the key to anything in life. As long as you are persistent and you don't give up, there is really truly nothing that can stop you from reaching your goals, right? So you just have to like keep on going and making very, very incremental, small incremental steps. And at some point, you're going to reach here and you're going to be like, damn, and I really thought I couldn't do that. Yes, you can, because if Madam C.J. Walker can, why can't you? But that is all for today's Wash Day Wednesday, and that is it for the Black History Month edition. I can't believe that was it. That was 4 weeks of February, you guys. So thank you for joining me for the Black History Month edition. We're going to return to our regular Wash Day Wednesdays starting next week, Wednesday. But if you like this video and the other 3 videos that I posted for February, give it a like, subscribe if you just like that kind of content, because maybe, I can continue to make history content like that, more educational videos like that. So that's, you just want to hear more historical content. I could definitely do that. But for Wash Day Wednesdays, I will go back to, just talking about hair care and all that. But whatever you want to talk about, just pin me, call me, beat me if you want to reach me, you know. But before I, close, because it's like I'm wrapping up. I know I'm closing, but I really do want to say thank you to everyone who really has joined every single Wednesday. Really appreciate all of you, for those who joined the live and those who watch the reruns. Really appreciate and love each of you for, joining me, participating, and just being with me on this journey as I do Wash Day Wednesdays. I will be continuing to do other shorts, other videos, but yeah, I really have been enjoying the lives with you guys. So thank you, because it really was a fun time. So thank you for watching. And remember, self care is how we practice self love. Bye.